Welcome to another episode of Warrior Nation, MDY's sports podcast. Tonight, we're joined by a very special guest to my right, which we'll get to in a second, but we will be recapping what was a very magical week in Magen David Yeshiva sports last week. Coming off of 3 championships, all won at home, the 5th grade basketball team, the 6th grade basketball team, and the 8th grade basketball team. We'll start with introductions all the way at the far right with Ralph Terzi.
Hi, I'm Ralph Terzi. I was the assistant coach of the 5th grade basketball team. I coached with Abie Rosow.
I'm Abie Rosow, coach of the 5th and 6th grade basketball teams.
Hi, I'm Grinburg. I was the assistant coach for the 6th grade basketball team.
I'm Esses. I coach the 7th grade basketball team and the assistant coach for 8th grade.
I'm Dayon, and I'm the head coach of the 8th grade basketball team.
So thanks, guys, for coming on. I know that last week was just very intense, and we're recapping that tonight. It was something that the whole school felt the energy and the wins last week. It was really a special week and something fun to watch. So we're excited to be talking about it tonight. We're going to start with chronological order of how the games went. So we're going to start with the 6th grade team. Let's get right to it. Monday night, 6th grade finals against Hafter. You guys were trailing for most of the night. I was actually not able to attend until about the 4th quarter. And we were watching on our phone and just kept checking, and down 6, down 10, down 7. What was going on early in the game?
We didn't really start off the way we wanted to, but we're just trying to preach to our guys about doing what we do, and sticking to what we do. We got into some foul trouble with a few of our guys, and going into halftime, we were down by 4. And then going into the 4th quarter, down by a few points, we always knew that like we were going to get there, just a matter of when. And then when we got there, once we tied the game, like the momentum totally shifted, and it was our game for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was a packed gym. Do you feel like, Freddie, your boys were affected at all by the amount of fans that were there to watch that game?
A little bit, because you can tell in the first quarter, especially on offense, they were kind of overwhelmed, like calling out the plays. They weren't calling it out loud enough, a little bit of confusion. But when we got into more the 2nd and 3rd quarters, they were running our sets really well.
Great. Your superstar had himself a night. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. In the beginning of the game,
Charlie Shearer.
Charlie Shearer, and really our team, we were getting looks that we wanted, but they weren't really falling. And then once it started to fall, it was over, especially when he started to get hot. He made a few shots, and then they went to a man. The second they went to the man, they can't guard him one-on-one, so then he just exploded and took over the game.
Yeah, really just a tremendous ending, and it was a fun way to kick off the week and get the celebration started for what was to be a really special week like we talked about. Let's jump over to now Tuesday night. 8th grade matchup against Flatbush, which is always a fun thing, and it always brings in the fans and the viewers. What do you got? What was the thought process going into the game?
I don't know. I mean, the thought process was they had 2 and we had none going into that. So the Flatbush team that we were up against had the championship pedigree that we were searching for. We didn't have it the first 2 years. 6th grade, they were close. 7th grade, they were even closer. And Flatbush was able to, seize the moment in those 2 years. So I think that was really the storyline for us the whole season. And it was just about how do we gain that championship DNA over and over and over again. And that was all the steps leading up to this game. I think for us, it was huge to get the home court advantage, because at home, it seemed like Flatbush was somewhat unbeatable the way they were just playing. I mean, they wore us out when we played them there, and then they scored 97 points in the semifinal game at home. So everyone's asking me, like, did you see it? I said, I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it. I'm focused on what we have to do. But yeah, I mean, it was like an instant classic. 2 teams that really wanted it, high-level basketball. And at the end of the day, I mean, the players make the plays, and our guys really stepped up 1 through 7, whoever was in the game. And then the bench really was also just so loud, so energetic, so into it. The positive energy was very contagious. And the boys just put on a show. I mean, they left everything they had on the floor. And it was just for coaches. I know Leo also was very close with them from last year's team. It was a very proud moment, to see kids bounce back after such a tough loss the year before against the same, characters that they played against. So, I mean, for them to do that on that stage was a very special moment, and it shows like what those kids are really made of. And and they worked their tails off to get there. I mean, I'm sure Leo could also talk about that.
Leo, I wanted to ask you, you guys had an undefeated season going into the last game of the regular season against this same Flatbush team, if I'm not mistaken. What was, and then obviously the outcome of that game was the loss. Flatbush came out with the victory. What was the boys'
Bloodbath, Jeff. It wasn't a loss. It was a bloodbath. It was pretty rough.
Oh, you were missing
Not our proudest.
Freddie, I believe.
I mean, we were down a couple of guys. We had some disciplinary issues that we had to get to on the team, but also we navigate also like Abie said in his game. We had a lot of foul trouble early in that game that hurt us.
Well, what do you think happened to the boys and their positive attitude throughout the whole season? Does that shift after a loss in the last game of the regular season?
So I don't think it shifts after that loss. I think what that loss did for us was, I think it made us hungrier. Is that first practice right after wasn't our best, but then you saw that, like, all right, it's settling in with these boys that were not unbeatable. We won a couple of scrimmages. I think we won like maybe 11 or 12 games in a row at that point. And it proved that like anybody could come in and anybody could take us down on any given night. So now we finally got back into the gym and got our swag back, and we started working even harder, I felt, which then led us into our top semifinal game versus YDE. You won, I think it was by like 10 points or something.
They cut it down to 1.
Yeah. And then to even stay tough, like we saw the mental toughness throughout the entire championship. You had some guys start off slow and then keep their heads up high. And just like Joey said, I think 1 through 7 made championship winning plays on that court that night.
Looking at picking each other up is something that I noticed when we were calling the game was Michael obviously had an explosive first half, and then he had a quiet third. So you go to the box score. Freddie had 8 points in the third. So, your 1-2 punch, he was right there to pick up his guy when he needed to be there, which was something special.
And then we had our role players too. Can't forget about those.
Of course, I mean, Zach Greenstein
had 34 points in 2 postseason games.
Wow.
Yeah, he was great.
I love his 2 free throws at the end also. Just the game is over already. But, I mean, to hit those 2 free throws, he put his hands on it. And he put it away, exactly. After the game, Joey, you told me 60-58 was something that you told me in the post-game press conference. What was the significance of that?
I mean, anyone that knows the backstory to what happened last year with these guys, I mean, they were up for most of the game, and then it was a tie game. They were trying to hold for one shot, and then Flatbush, put the pressure on. They had a trap set up. Elliot Azar comes over the top, gets a steal for the win, and that ends up winning Flatbush a championship. So, it's very easy, especially as an 8th grade kid. I mean, I still have it to this day when I play, like, to have deja vu of that moment and to not be able to close it out. But I think the whole season, our main focus was mental toughness. And the moment's going to be there if, we play up to our potential. It's just, are we going to seize the moment, take advantage of it, and make the plays when it counts? And those guys made the plays when it counted, and it was just very rewarding to see them step up and make plays. Like at the end of the game, Michael makes a big play, turnaround jump shot. Zach makes a crazy Euro step finish. Like you said, he makes 2 free throws. And then defensively, we just said if we're going to get a stop or 2 at the end of this game, we're going to win the game. So, like, they just mentally locked in. They're able to tune into another level. And as a coach, I mean, that's really all you could really ask for. It's incredible to see.
Fantastic. It was a great night. And now at that point in the week, if you're an MDY fan, you're looking at this and saying, 2 down, 1 to go. Could we do it? And this has never been done before. 3 championships, a full sweep like that, all at home, unprecedented. Before we get into the details of the 5th grade game, Abe, I want to ask Ralph, 5th grade basketball players, that's a hard transition. You're talking about kids who've never really played organized ball before to any real level. I mean, if you want to say ballers, but further than that, it's a whole new ball game. It's a large gym, very, very big court. The jerseys, the shooting shirts, the whole MDY feeling of basketball. What do you say about the adjustment for a 5th grader to come into something like that?
It's a tremendous adjustment. We start in September, and we preach culture. We preach patience. And, each practice, we try to build on the previous practice. And each game, we try to build on the previous game. And we tell the boys, take it one step at a time. And I think Coach Abie said it perfectly in the pregame locker room of the championship game when he said, okay, guys, we worked all season for this. This is like the final performance. Leave it all out there. This is what we worked all season for. And now it's time for you guys to show yourselves what you're capable of. And they brought it all 100%. And if we only brought 99%, we probably wouldn't have won. But every single percentage point of those kids' energy from 1 to 14, including the 2 coaches, was needed to make that spectacular moment for the kids. And watching them storm the court and reach the pinnacle for them at that age was just priceless. And I just keep replaying it in my head. So
I'm sure you keep replaying it on your phone as well, not only in your head. So I don't know when you watch the game. You probably watched the game a dozen times already.
So I don't have Instagram, but thank God I have Abie, and he sent me the clips, and it's great.
It is. All right, so now we get to Thursday night, and it's another packed gym. Another opportunity for MDY to bring this home. Abie, you had a pretty commanding lead there against Hal, and then they started to claw back. Now it's the opposite situation that you had on Monday night. What's the thought process now? What are you preaching to the boys at this point? How are you keeping them level-headed and ready to win this game?
So it was tough because this team really didn't have much adversity throughout the year. We lost one game by a lot, so it wasn't really.
Was it to Hal?
Yeah, it was to Hal. So we lost by like 20-something points, but it was never really a game. So we never had a close game that we really played in. It's either we won by a lot or we lost that one game by a lot. So we're missing a few players during that game too. So some of the players that were playing the key moment at the end of this game wasn't even part of that loss. Because they were sick, they weren't physically playing. That's still part of what we were doing. But just kind of talking to them about, like, we just have to make one play at a time, and like all we have to do is win the game. May not be exactly the way we wanted to win the game, but we just had to win the game. You said that they came back into the game. They came back into the game a bunch. First half, also in the second half, we're up by like 9. They came back into it. They even took the lead. And we just stuck with what we were doing. And if you see tie game, 15 seconds left, whatever, we make the game-winning play. All 5 guys touched the ball. Yeah. They all shared the ball, and we hit a layup to win the game. And it just that's kind of like how we would have liked to play the entire game, but we didn't really. But just after putting all that work in the entire year, and the kids stayed true to, like, not one. Maybe throughout the game you would think, oh, we should have moved the ball, but at the end of the game, everybody trusted each other, and they just kept moving the ball until we found somebody open and made a layup. So it's really cool that they really trusted each other in that moment, and yeah.
So I wanted to ask you specifically about that play. Of course, the fact that all 5 players touched the ball was incredible. I don't you can never discount that, especially at the 5th grade level. My question to you is, and I don't know if you did or not, did you have any timeouts left?
Yeah.
How do you not call a timeout in that situation? How do you how do you give the trust to those players at that age, at that level, to say, go out and win this game?
Yes, I mean,
Yeah, by the way, the fact that you did have a timeout just makes the play much more special, much more incredible.
yeah. So I mean, I'm a believer. Like, if you have the ball like that, and they took off their pressure the last possession, so we really could. We're dribbling around and, like, we want to have the last shot. I remember as Grazzi was going to hand it off to Gelber, I thought we went a little too early. And I thought kind of Gelber was going to take the ball and try to make a play. But he didn't. And if he would have missed, it would have been like 8. If he would have missed, it would have been like 8 seconds left when he gave him a chance. Instead, he passed to Allen. Allen threw it to Salem, and Salem had the ball, and then he threw it to Hamadani. If Grazzi would have went a little bit later, maybe one of those guys would have just shot the shot because wouldn't be enough time left. But
So for the fact that all 5 players touched it, Grazzi went at the perfect time.
exactly.
Unbelievable.
I mean, you could speak more to.
Salem's pass, I mean, Ralph, I know it's your nephew. Salem's pass was, when you watch that back, he went on a perfect.
It was smile. Look at his smile.
The truth is,
Can't make that.
Just son, with respect.
first of all, I love the kid, of course, but just, again, the practices, and I keep stressing that because anyone that wants to be part of Mag and David basketball, and, you hear some of the rhetoric where they're like, oh, these guys practice all the time and they take it so seriously, you get what you put in. And, I think one of us said, I don't remember, it was so electric the moment, but, like, we say dreams only work if you do. And, like, we stress that to the kids. And the only way that play happens is when you have synergy between those 5 players. They each knew where they were supposed to be. They were ready to make the next pass. And guess what? If Hamadani wasn't going to make that shot, he had an option to pass it to Grazi, skip pass it to Grazi, and Grazi would have been wide open. That was the beauty of that play. I'll tell you something funny. At the end of the game, someone came up to me and said, so what would you have rather, to win the game 55-53 with that last possession or win by 20? I said, if you asked me it, 2 hours ago, give me the blowout, clear the bench, let's go. Nerves, all celebrate. Awesome. Right now, and I had a son on the team also, I think the ending was like the perfect cherry on the cake. Like, it was just awesome. And I think the boys realize also, you can't take anything for granted. The boys worked hard, and they saw that sometimes, just like in life, things don't always go your way. But if you stick with it, you'll see results. And hopefully those results are positive. And I think our boys learned the great lesson on Thursday night.
Well, yeah, it was, I keep using the word incredible and special, and I just don't have many more adjectives for it. Sick, right. Let's ask you guys some general questions about coaching, about what you do and why you do it. Freddie, what do you think the student athletes, these boys and the girls on the girls team and all the student athletes of MDY, what are they benefiting from being on these sports teams?
I think the number one benefit of being on one of these teams is kind of getting an extra family. I'm not so far out of high school. I remember I was on the team my whole life, elementary school, high school. Leo coached me for a while on JV.
Oh, yeah.
And especially these boys too, the 6th grade boys. We had a bunch of long van rides, 2 hours. We had a scrimmage in North Jersey. I remember being in those vans. You could just see them becoming a family right in front of your eyes. And you could see that on the court too when they play. It's like they know where each other's going to be. And if one guy is not buying in, some guy is not going to be afraid to go to him and say, you need to step up right now. You need to do your job. Charlie did that in the finals. He was on them. When we were making that run in the fourth quarter, Charlie was on it. And these guys, he said, you have to play defense. You have to step up. There was that one huddle. He's screaming at them, but they understand it's because he needs the best from them. And they're not holding against him. They're buying in right with him.
That was the huddle on the far side from your bench, right in front of the opponent's bench under the basket. And it is unbelievable just to see that they got together at that point. I was so amazed. It was the first game that I've watched of your team, but just to see them get together like that, a bunch of young kids, it was very cool.
I think it takes a lot of maturity for kids that age to realize when my teammate's screaming at me, when he's coming at me, he really wants the best for me. And they instantly understood that because of all the time they spent together, because they really feel like they're so close.
I'd like to hear from each of you or whoever wants to answer how you got into coaching. Dayon, what made you start into?
Oh man, you want the real answer?
Oh, we want the Ms. We want to talk.
It's not going to be a popular answer, but basically, I don't know. When I played growing up, I didn't really have great coaching around me, honestly, and I just felt like there's so much talent in our schools, and that in order for us to get the most out of them, we need to step up and have better coaching. So for me, I never thought I was going to come back and coach. Gus Kennedy from Flatbush was a coach at 6th grade for Flatbush at the time. So Joey, come back and coach. I did it for 1 year. I liked it. I just kept coming back. And now it's my 10th year coaching, my 3rd year at MDY. But it's really just the bond with the boys, build a connection, make sure they're getting the most out of themselves, pushing them, making sure they learn the life lessons along the way, and basically just being a mentor for the boys. That we have so many beautiful young boys in our program that, they want an older brother, they want someone to reach out to, or they want a coach to look up to. For me, that was never the case. I was always playing for older men, so I was never able to really connect with them, at that level. But now, really, for me, it's just about growing relationships with the boys and making sure that I'm there for them every step of the way. And whenever I can help them, I can help them. And this is just a small token, to show that hard work could go a long way, and we could win a championship together and share that forever. But more importantly, just be there in their lives forever. Yeah.
Fantastic. Leo, we didn't talk much about your 7th grade team, unfortunately. We didn't end with the results that we would have liked. And when I say we, I obviously have a personal tie to that team as well. But same question to you.
My coaching story is a little different. It started, I'd say, about 3 weeks after my senior season ended. I was talking with one of the assistants. I went to Mac and David. I played for Coach Spike, and I was talking to one of the assistants right after the season. I was still in high school. I was a senior, going to my internship program, and I was just having a conversation with one of my assistants. I'm like, you know what? I loved the way the team felt. I'd love to get into Dojo. I think maybe a day later, Coach Spike called me up, said, hey, I'd love you to come join our bench or be an assistant coach. So my first year as a coach, I was actually coaching my teammates from the year before. And then I was on the varsity staff for a little bit. Then I was doing varsity in 8th grade, then varsity 8th and 7th grade. And then I took a little bit of a break from Mac and David. I coached at a different school for a little bit, and this is my second year back as coach.
Yeah, if he said Flatbush, you could definitely say.
Saying that the coach is not great. It's okay.
Went to Buckeye for a little bit. I started coaching there, and now it's my second year as a head coach back here.
Great. Abie?
Yeah, I've always loved basketball. I've played basketball my whole life. Where I got into coaching was when I was still in high school. I got coached the travel team at the center. I coached like a ballers team at the center. I coached at Buckeye also. And then when my brother was a senior in high school, I was like at his practices and helping out. Coach Grinburg was the coach at the time. He was my coach also. So helping him out at Flatbush, doing stuff there. And then I started coaching at Flatbush, and now I'm coaching here.
Great story. I'm going to throw this last question out. Whoever wants to take it, don't be shy. What benefit do you guys have being part of the Mag and David coaching camaraderie? How do you lean on each other? What do you gain from it?
I could go first. I mean,
You could go.
I told Abie this. I said, they set the tone for us by winning on Monday night. You guys went on Monday night. So I think they set the tone for us winning on Monday night. When you win on Monday night, you definitely don't want to lose on Tuesday night. When you win on Monday night and Tuesday night, you definitely don't want to lose on Thursday night. So I think also that's just the Mag and David coaching tree. It's like everyone's winning around you, and they're doing it to the highest level, but also in the right way. So you don't want to slack behind. You don't want to be the guy that's not winning. You don't want to, play your part in that. And I was just saying, like, Abie's performance on Monday inspired us to play better on Tuesday, and his coaching elevated my coaching. And I think that goes from spike down. It just elevates all of us to go to this level that we honestly don't believe that we can even reach. I mean, 3 championships in a week. Last year we had how many championships did we win between 3 of us? 5th, 8th, or varsity. And so, I mean, it's just Spike built it at the top, and we're fortunate enough, I guess, to be a part of it and all push each other. And the coaching is A++, and the mentorship's A++. So it's a privilege to be a part of it, honestly.
I think I had a little bit of a different experience because I also do get to be a head coach on my own team. Anytime we went on the 8th grade bus ride, me and Joey would spend at least half of the ride there talking strategy about 7th grade. Just I'm able to now bounce ideas off another head coach who sees the game a little bit differently than me. It just helps me as a coach just get better and see games differently, to be able to just bounce ideas back and forth to somebody that we work so closely with, and just feel comfortable going back and forth and having a just open and honest conversation about the game.
Right?
I'm kind of new to the coaching thing. So I was very grateful for how Abie, he didn't really know me before this season. We had like one small interview in the summer, but he really kind of inched me into it. Like, this is how you do it. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. And just watching him and him letting me help the team in any way that I could, and then bringing me into the fold, I really couldn't have asked for anything better, because he's the best professional you could ask for to learn from. And I was at every practice, almost every practice throughout the whole year. And just watching him work, I learned so many things, not just about basketball, but about coaching, about being a leader. And all that means a lot. Right?
Yeah, so I think what everyone said is 100% accurate, but, even beyond that, the same way we talk about the kids and that there's a camaraderie and a family tie between them, I think the coaches also have that same feeling. For example, like, let's say our 5th grade or 6th grade teams would come into practice after Joey's practicing with his boys, and I'm sitting there for 10 minutes, and then Joey sees me sitting there, and he's like, what do you see, and what can we do, and how do I get more out of this guy, and we talk about it, and it's an open conversation. In some other schools or some other programs, like, the coaches are competing with each other. Here, we're brothers. We're rooting for each other. We want each other's success. And I think that when everyone's on the same team, literally and figuratively, I think it breeds the type of success that we've been seeing in our program, from varsity championships last year down to 5th grade championships the last 2 years. I think it's awesome that Joey won 2 championships in the last 2 years, and Abie's won 3 championships in 2 seasons. Like, these are things that we may start to take for granted, but we shouldn't. It's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. There's a team behind it all. And I think we should appreciate all those elements that are part of this program.
Shout out Benny and Harold also.
Yeah,
They
of course.
definitely make our lives very, very easy, and they make sure everything's very smooth. So
I was just gonna say, like being part of the NDY family for a second year now, um, like really what everyone was saying is that everyone's for each other. Everyone's helping each other. Like we're like I guess like the lowest level grade, but helping us get extra practice time or having Spike come into a fifth grade championship game to watch them play. It just shows that everybody cares about each other. Or Joey coming to and Leo coming to our games, and we went to his games, and everyone's supporting each other. It's not just one team on its own. Like we're all for each other. So that's really cool.
Unbelievable. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. This last week was something that most of us will never forget. Really enjoyable to watch from my vantage point and from the vantage point of the whole yeshiva. So thank you for all the hard work you guys put in the whole season, because it really showed, and all the dedication that you put to these boys. It's
Thank you.
unmatched. Check out on Instagram, Backyard Sports, Rep, and Dream Basketball. Thank you very much, guys.